Well, we've talked about other types of technology in the class. We're going to be talking about radical technology today. Radical technologies are ones that change the whole architecture of everything you do. Internet, now that changed everything. Cell phones. If you had taken your cell phone and went 20 or 30 years back, people would have gone, wow, because you had more processing power than half the computers in the world just right there in your hand. Yeah. We're going to talk about one today that, it's fake. I mean, it's not real, but if it was real, this one uses water and produces electricity. It's cold fusion, not hot fusion, cold fusion. And so we're just going to use a little bit here. I'm just going to take some water.
Oh, that's to show us this water.
This is water. I'm going to put in about 10 cc's because I don't want to use too much because we're not hooked up to a house. There you go. And this would normally, if you hooked up to a spigot like on your toilet had a slow leak, that's how much water you'd use. It would produce 250 amps at 230 volts, which is enough to power a modern house. Everything you wanted, your air conditioning, heating, everything. Your stove, power everything with a trickle of water. And yeah, now what? And so it would cause a lot of disruption. Cost about $500 to make. Okay. Part of the byproducts are it produces hydrogen gas and a little bit of carbon after a time, so you'd have to clean it up. Now, would you want to manufacture this? Would you want to? Now, you've signed the non-disclosures, right?
Yes. Definitely.
Anything about those?
Words are pretty small.
Yeah, 6-point font, light gray, so you would...
Oh, that was convenient.
Yeah, so everybody, would you want to know about this? What would this do if it would produce, if it really worked, what would this...
You wouldn't have an electric bill.
You wouldn't have an electric bill. Now, what would it do to the price of water?
It would go up.
It would go up.
Because now water would be more valuable.
So you could put it in an electric car. What's the most expensive part of an electric car?
The
battery. Yeah. So you can take out all that lithium and all the weight and put this in there. $500 worth of versus $6,000 for a battery. Right. And it would produce a car. Now, people would get angry when you went down, somebody drove up to your creek near your house and started filling up their car, but it's like that guy that plugged in his electric car in the neighbor's house. I saw that recently. So if this did this, what would happen to the oil companies? What would happen to the internal combustion engine cars?
Oh, they become obsolete.
They become obsolete. Now, would there be billions of dollars displaced in that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, what would happen to the oil magnates and people?
People would lose jobs, too.
Yeah, people would lose jobs. People would lose billions of dollars. Now, what would happen to you if you were the ones that knew about this and other people didn't know?
We need protection.
Go somewhere to hide.
We need protection, yes.
Yeah, because, for example, in Middle Tennessee, where Vanderbilt is, the going price, and it has been for about 30 years, for a murder contract is $25,000. Somebody said, wow, how do you know that?
How did you know?
Well, my first wife was a TBI agent, and one of her jobs was negotiating murder contracts, and he'd have one of their agents pretend to be a hitman, and she'd negotiate with him, and then they'd arrest the person. She also did drug deals, too, so she'd bring home $250,000 in cash and stuff. But it's typical price. In East Tennessee, it's only $3,500. But you only get a drive-by with an F-150 and a shotgun out the window, so it's not really good. But if you knew about this and other people didn't, and somebody'd come kill you. So would you want to manufacture this? Nobody's going to kill you. Would you want to manufacture this? Now, it costs you $500 to make it.
Okay.
Now, what do you think China would do?
Oh man.
Yeah, they'd be a month later. They'd be making it for $250.
For $250.
Yeah. And you'd be out of business. So your job would be to not manufacture it, but install it and service it. So if you had a radical technology, you need to think about any radical technology. What is it going to do? If this really worked,
That makes sense.
I mean, it doesn't. It would be really cool if it did. If it really worked, just you have to think about any radical technology and how it would change the landscape of everything, about shipping, about power distribution, storage, all that. The grid people, the electrical utility people would be angry at you.
Yeah.
Just like you're starting to get a pushback from solar and wind because they said, well, just the rich people are doing that and making everybody else carry the burden of the electrical companies.
Yeah.
So you'd get pushback from this. Why don't you plug that in over there on the side? We just put in 10 cc, so it won't be that much. Yeah. Oh, trust me, this is safe.
Where are you? Don't get it.
Yeah, this is safe.
Right.
I'm a professor. It's all right. It doesn't really work.
No, it's not on. It's not on.
Are you sure?
I hope so. All right, nothing happened.
Okay, will you hand me that
Okay.
carefully?
Yes,
All right,
sir.
now, if this really worked, it really doesn't, but if it did, oh, damn.
Wait a minute.
But if
It worked.
so it does work.
Oh, it does. Wow.
So that would be
How
kind of
long
cool.
can that thing run for?
Oh, I don't know. Depends on how good it is.
Oh my God, it worked. That's crazy of water.
Anyway,
That
Wow.
is crazy.
So this thing does.
Yes,
no,
works.
it doesn't work.
Yes,
It just powers, a couple tools,
Hmm.
about 2,500 watts.
Add a little bit more water to it. See what happens.
That's enough to plug
Yeah,
in.
I'm spilling too much as it is. Cool?
That's cool. That's
All
really
right.
cool.
That's really cool.